Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Titans Return Deluxe Class Highbrow and Zort, who originally was called Gort, but for copyright reasons or whatever, they renamed them. So whatever. But for the package, very similar to what we've gotten many times already. You got the nice open clamshell here with the artistic kind of image of Highbrow there in the back, which is also what's fully showcased on his collector card, but I'll show that here in a bit. On the back, you got that crossplay sort of instruction that shows that like Brawn can fit on Highbrow, or you can take Zort and you can put him on Chrome Dome, Alpha Trion, or even Soundwave if you wanted. And then for a bit of a read-up, it says the Autobots unite with Titan Master partners to power up for battle. The gravity disruptors on Zort give Highbrow the power to manipulate gravitational fields. But, okay, I guess that makes sense, because, you know, he's a helicopter, and he flies. But, for the packaging on this guy, like I said, nothing really that we haven't seen before. So without further ado, let's get Highbrow out here, and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Highbrow and Zort open up and out of their packaging. And much like all the new Titans Return figures with the exception of the Titan Masters, Highbrow comes with his collector card with a really cool artistic image here on the front, which is also replicated on the back of the actual package card. And then on the back of it, it's upside down, you can see his tech specs, which nicely homage the original G1 toys. They all had the tech specs, and then the Headmasters had that whole gimmick that you could see what power level they went up to when you would attach the actual Headmaster. And that's what you basically have here as well with Highbrow and Zort. So really very cool, I do dig that. Now, Highbrow here is a fairly extensive retool of Scourge figure. You'll see a lot of the similarities in terms of the transformation, but a lot of the actual parts have been retooled. So the engineering is very similar, such as the transformation and things like that, but he does feature a lot of very new parts, which does give him a very cool, unique sort of look. As you can see, he's got these little double propeller sort of things. Unfortunately, they don't fold in, which is something that I really hope that they did. Now, the G1 toy did that, but unfortunately these ones don't. And then as you can see, there's only 2 propellers here, whereas the original G1 toy had 3. But we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. But overall, really great looking helicopter. I really think they did a good job of, retooling that Scourge figure to give us a completely different character, which really does look good as Highbrow here. I think they did a terrific job with it. You can see that on the other side here, he's got his little weapons, which attach to the bottom section of the little rotors, very much like the original G1 toy did. You can see that you got little landing gear right there that, kind of helps stabilize them. And then you got the one down here that just folds out, so you can just set it right there. Now, these can detach, obviously, and become individual weapons. I'll show you that here in a little bit. You got a little kind of gun weapon here on the front of them, and then obviously you got the little cockpit with Zort sitting here on the inside. I'm just going to take him out, set him right there, just kind of have him hang out. But again, real nice detail on the inside here with the cockpit. I do like how this opens up very similarly to the way that the G1 did in terms of folding forward like that. I mean, I don't know if that's something that they think of when they're designing it, but it's stuff like that. It's, for me, a nice little touch. It says, hey, that's very similar to that original G1 toy, and they kept something very small and minute like that, from that original toy here in the new one. I think they did a good job. You got a little rear stabilizer thing. I don't know what you call that. I mean, you got the little wings coming out here. The obviously propellers do spin around and everything. You got his arms right along the side, which, you may complain you got visible hand or arm syndrome, I guess. But, taking a look at the original G1, that's what this is. I mean, these are his arms right here. So, I mean, it definitely has that same kind of look and feel. I like how, in terms of replicating the little piece that comes out here, you got that little rounded section, which, they kind of have that here with the little propeller sort of doodad. And then how this kind of flares out, that flares out as well. As you can see, he's got 3 propellers here on the rotors, whereas the new one just has 2. I do kind of wish that it was a little bit lighter of a color. As you can see, it's a very nice metallic-y kind of blue color, which does look really good. I really do like it, but I like the little lighter color that this had, but it's not anything that's terribly bad. You know, a lot of times with these new Titans Return figures, people are like, well, should I get the Takara one or should I get the Hasbro one? And so far, honestly, with this second wave of figures, I really haven't seen much of a need to get the Takara one. I think that the colors are pretty darn good. I like the addition of the red kind of stripe going here. You got the little red bit there. I do kind of wish that he had Autobot logos painted right here. Kind of looks like, you know, you would have an area right there for Autobot logos, or, I mean, put them around that side here where the front of them is actually going to be. Kind of like the stickers here, but you got the little Autobot logo there. You got the rub symbol. That's kind of right there as well. So, overall, you know, fairly decent in terms of the recreation. Again, like I said, you got that section that folds forward. I'm going to take Gort out. I mean, we know it's supposed to be Gort, so we'll just take him out. Oh, he's stuck. There we go. Set him over there. But like I said, that folds forward and this folds forward. So I don't know. It's simple. I think it's a cool little touch. I dig it. I'm very easy to kind of please. And then for comparison here, really nice detail on it. You got a little bit of white or silver paint here on Zort's eyes, but you can see that the majority of his body is done in this kind of whitish kind of color with the blue arms and legs. That's similar to what you have on Gort here, except the body's a different color, so it's kind of weird. And then again, transformation, you just rotate this around. Do that on that side as well. And again, you have a very toy kind of look for Gort's head, whereas Zort here has a much more, you know, animation style, which I do dig. I really do like that. Again, for some reason, some of these figures have them, some of them don't, but Zort here does not have any kind of pin here attaching his legs, so you can just pull those apart if you really wanted to. And in doing it like that, it actually makes them a little bit more loose here. So maybe that's why they started going towards the pin, because that is a little bit loose. I mean, you can see it's not flopping down or anything, but just moving it, it does have a little bit looser of a feel, which, you know, it's whatever. So set him kind of right there, get him to stand, get Gort out of the way. Taking a look at his actual guns, they peg in here very securely on the underside right there. You got a little peg hole right here and another one on the outside, which I guess you could, if you really wanted to, use that as well. I guess it works a little bit better with the rounded section, but you got the wheels here pointing down, so it makes more sense. You can actually take this, you can peg this together right just like so. And this is strange. You got little foot pegs right here for the bottom, so you just put that there, and then he kind of sits on it. So let me get the arms out of the way. So you put that there, get him pegged in there, and he kind of sits there, which, I don't know. Again, you can kind of do whatever you want with it, but there's no peg on the bottom section here, so it's like, what is that supposed to be? I mean, you got the little tire kind of section right back here. You can't really peg that onto any of the city bots because there's no peg right there. So I guess you're just going to have to sit it there, or maybe put it off on the side. You could do something like that. You got some holes here, so you could do that, obviously, but that's going to get very precarious as it gets pretty darn close to his head. So and actually, that needs to be a little bit higher, so that is going to hit his head, clunk, 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 so that's not very safe. But you do have that, so it's kind of strange, but you do have these two different guns that you can have a highbrow kind of hold, so we'll take a look at that here in a second. Transformation for this guy is actually really very, very simple. If you're familiar with Scourge, he transforms very similarly, and you're going to feel like it's a very familiar transformation. So first you're going to separate these arms from the side, and then these are going to angle up just like that. So separate right down here, and then shift them up here at the shoulders themselves. Take this entire front cockpit area, you're going to rotate this around just like so, and that's just going to sit along the back, kind of get these arms out of the way. Take these, separate these, rotate these. Now let's see, did you detach? There we go. So pull these apart, there we go, and then swivel these out to the side, and then rotate right here at the thigh, and then you bring the whole section down. So again, rotate that down, spin this around, not at that part, you want to rotate it at the thigh bit, and then put that down, and then take this entire section, collapse this up, and then one final little touch, well, I guess you got the hands here, so rotate these out, rotate those out, and then one little tiny touch that just adds some dimension to his chest is you take this and you fold that out just like so, and that just gives a little bit of, like I said, you know, added depth to his chest itself. Oh, and then, oh, I forgot. And then come around here, fold out the little heel spurs, put that right there, set him there, and then you take Zort, rotate him around like so, and then you peg him in right there into his little neck cavity. And there you have Highbrow, fully attached, fully assembled, and in his actual robot mode. Once again, I'm feeling like a broken record when I talk about how much I like these new Titan Return figures, because, again, this guy turned out absolutely terrific. I really love all the molded in detail on this guy. Getting his guns kind of out of the way for right now, you can see an amazing amount of detail kind of thrown out this entire figure. You got a lot of it here in the chest, a lot in his arms. You got some nice detail down in the actual lower portion of the legs. Everything looks great. The fact that you can kind of extend this out here and give a little bit more of a 3D kind of look, just really super impressive on really every facet of this figure. Now, like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed that you can't rotate these around, mostly because I don't like having them stuck like this. Get those out of the way. I wish you could rotate them down and have them kind of drape down at the bottom. It's not terrible or anything. It's just, for me, that would have been a personal preference that I would have liked. As it is, you're kind of left with them just kind of hanging out here and looking like they're just flaring out from the body. Also, you got these little pieces right here that don't fold back like the original one did. Again, that's a minor thing. I don't think this really looks all that bad, but in terms of that personal aesthetic, I would have liked that. Not 100% accurate, but it still does look really cool, I think, just being able to kind of fold those back. Now, you also do have these wonky kind of wrists that the Scourge figure had. I don't understand why they did it like this. It locks into place, but outward, like so. So you kind of have to just leave them right there. One thing I'll say is that these are really tight. A lot of people have problems with the wrists on Scourge, so hopefully that's something that they were able to fix. Mine here obviously has it. The head is also not as much of a bobble. I mean, it stays on there very securely. I mean, you could see how violent I was shaking that thing to get it to pop out. But it doesn't necessarily have the same bobbleheady kind of ness. I mean, it can move, but it's not really flipping and flopping all over the place. So again, I hope that's something that they were able to repair from that actual Scourge figure on Highbrow here. But I just, again, real nice detail. I really like the fact that the whole front section right here is actually painted this gray. It's not just molded in like this grayish color plastic. You can see that it's actually painted, and you get some nice blue paint that comes through here. You got some nice blue paint kind of towards the top of it as well. Just overall, like I said, real very nice paint scheme on here. I'm kind of seeing like a little bit of separation here with the legs, which is kind of interesting. I mean, like I said, this is just like a lot of remolded parts, and that's basically, you know, kind of left over from Scourge himself, but it would look a little bit better if that was screwed in a little bit tighter, I would think, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that looks like there's like energy kind of surging through his body. I don't know. But really a very sharp looking figure. Now, for a comparison, setting him there, and here you have him next to the other Autobot headmasters. And really, like I said, these guys look terrific together. Now, setting him here, there is one guy that is missing. So setting those off to the side, and I guess no real comparison would be complete without bringing in their leader, that being Cerebros. And obviously, as you can see, Cerebros is a little bit taller. He's kind of in between a Deluxe and Voyager figure. But here they all are. And like I said, these guys look great together. This is a great crew. And honestly, I'm very happy that they gave us the entire cast as quickly as they did. It only took them 2 waves to do it, but this kind of, you know, completes the Autobot sort of display. And for one final comparison, here he is next to his G1 self. And again, you can see a lot of similarities. The thing that I don't particularly care too much about, like I was talking about, is the propeller thing in the back. This one did have the 3 of them. I wish that you could collapse it around and kind of just hide it like I was doing with this. As it is, these are just kind of always going to be flopping around here. I mean, this goes there or there. That's really about it. And then obviously you have the little section right here with the wings that kind of fold in. I don't think these look all that bad. I mean, these were really long, so that looked a little bit awkward, to be totally honest. But I think that these ones, because they're a little bit smaller, work a little bit better. But again, like like I said, a lot of really nice similarities. I like the, the chest section here, very similar to what we have on the original G1. The arms are the same color as the arms. Maybe if they could have painted the hands blue, that would have been a little bit different, but it doesn't bother me really that much. You got the gray for the legs, you got the blue for the lower section. All in all, though, again, a really nice homage and update to that original G1 toy. For Highbrow's articulation, much like all the other ones, because you got the little ball joint right there, you get a nice range of motion here with the actual head. You can kind of see that his neck kind of sticks up a little bit high, but I don't think that's really all that bad, honestly. I think it looks pretty decent, and you can get some really cool poses with it. As part of the transformation, you do have a hinge at the shoulder right there, and then you also do have a very good range of motion here on the ball joint, so lots of articulation right there and real good kind of dynamic sort of looks that you can create. He does rotate right at the elbow, and then he hinges forward and back. The wrists move in and out. Like I said, it's kind of weird that it goes all the way out like that, but whatever. Unfortunately, there's no waist articulation. As you could see, that whole slot section, I just pushed that in, that whole slot section kind of makes it a little bit impossible to have a waist, but I still think that it looks pretty decent. You got those swivel and hinge joints right here, so you can move it forward and back, you can move it in and out, you can rotate it, whatever you want to do. You got a little rotation here at the upper part of the thigh, bends at the knee, and then I guess you could say that he's got heel articulation. So lots of articulation in the guy, a little bit less than what we have with some of the other ones because he doesn't have that waist joint, but I still think that he looks really terrific. In terms of the Autobot Headmasters, this was the smart guy. This was the one that, who's your favorite from the Headmaster series? I'd pick Highbrow just because he was the smart guy in the original Japanese series. That was a little bit different in the North American series where Brainstorm was the smarty. I don't know. I think that the look on this guy is just a pretty cool look, I guess. But now to transform him back again, really very, very simple. We're going to rotate the fists back up into the actual forearms. Come around here to the back. You're going to take the heel, collapse that up into the actual foot area. Come around to the arms, just kind of get that out of the way. Take, obviously, the head. I should take that off and set that off to the side. Get that kind of out of the way. And then you take the whole lower section, pull that away. Take this section, you can collapse this up and in like that. Rotate them, well, that's going to be the top. So we're going to rotate that so that the ugly section is kind of facing forward, and then accordion that up just like so. So again, rotate that so that the ugly section is now facing forward. Rotate this up, bring those two halves together, give it a nice squeeze. Come on, there we go. Where you at? Where you at, little whole thing? There we go. Squeeze that in just like so. Then kind of, again, put those down, rotate the little cockpit down and around, locking that into place, straighten out these arms, and then you shift these, well, no, you shift them down, I think, or, yeah, shift them down, shift down, there we go, and then lock that into place. So you got, as you're shifting it down, you got a little notch right here that's going to slot into a little section right there on the inside of his arm. That comes down, and then you got this little piece right down here that slots into the actual forearm. So that's how everything connects right there. And then obviously you can open the cockpit just like so. If you wanted to, you can take Zort right here. You can put him sitting in there. You can close that up, and you can take these guns again. You want to take the little square peg sort of thing right here, put that right, oh no, put that right there on that side. So you got the little blue section that comes across the actual arm. You can't really do it the other way, getting this out of the way. Yeah, and you can't really twist it because, as you can see, it's like hexagonal, I think. What is 6? What is the term for 6? I don't remember. But it's got 6 sides. It's not a full rounded thing. And this is actually square. So once you get it in there, it's kind of not easy to rotate it around. But you can see this section, because this little piece right here kind of sticks up, it kind of hits this. So you can't really put it in there. You have to put it in on this side. And like I said, with the square peg, when you put that right up in there, it doesn't rotate or anything, so you can't really twist it to get it out. You want to pull it straight back, that way you don't damage anything. So again, put that in there. You got the little blue posts kind of facing on the inside. You got now landing gear there. You can take this little bit, rotate this out, and you got more landing gear, and there you have the Highbrow in his helicopter mode. Overall though, again, a really very, very well done figure. The helicopter mode, I think, makes a great use out of, that Scourge mode that we just recently got. And despite the fact that it has a very similar engineering kind of built into it, the look is radically different. That robot mode comes together so very nicely. As I said, color on here looks really good. I like the paint detail that they have put into it. That's one thing that I've also really noticed has improved in the past couple figures. The paint detail is really pretty nice. And as I said, a lot of these second wave figures, I really don't necessarily think that the Takara one is that much of an improvement. I'm really very happy with these guys and don't anticipate myself picking up any of the second wave figures from Takara. But that being said, Highbrow here, as well as the rest of the second wave of Deluxe figures, is slowly starting to hit various retail locations right now. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the second wave of Transformers Titans Return figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. Also be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you never miss a future review of mine. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later. You're at your best when the going gets rough. You've been put to